And I'm joined by Joe and Mike of Himalayas. How you doing, boys?
You're very well, thank
Good,
you.
you
Very
alright?
well, yeah, thank you.
Hey, no worries. Glad you're doing well. I saw you guys recently dropped your brand new single, V.O.V. Already receiving great reviews. We've been playing it on the show. It's been getting great response. You must be really chuffed with how this one's being received so far.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing. This song's been a long process to make.
Mm.
Been about a year and a half or so. So I think since we first initially got the lyrics from Brian Johnson, I think that was a year and a half or so ago. So it's great to receive such great feedback for it because it makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely. So you mentioned there obviously that Brian Johnson's got a co-write on this. How did that collaboration come to be?
So our manager is part of their live show team.
Oh,
Or one of part of our management team, sorry. And they're like mutual friends with Brian. So basically they showed Brian before we went into the studio to record our debut album, we had demos and things like that. And they showed Brian the demos and Brian just really loved what we had done. And kind of then when we were doing the album was loving the stuff that we were doing. So we kind of we were blown away by that initially, you know, because it's enough for Brian just to say that he liked the music that we were doing. But then, like a week later, he just sent over some lyrics and gifted us the lyrics and said, "Hey guys, you know, would you like to do something with this?" And of course, obviously, we bit his hand off and we're like, "Yeah, definitely." So he sent over the lyrics, and then we just sat on them for a while because we were kind of astounded about, you know, how do you go about challenging, you know, taking on that challenge of
yeah.
living up to those lyrics. So I think what happened was we wrote the song about 3 times. You know, I think trying to make sure that it was right. I think we wanted to do justice to it, obviously. And so then we used some of our own lyrics as well as Brian's to kind of make it, you know, from our perspective, we didn't want to write a song that was just from Brian. We kind of wanted to make it seem like something we would still say ourselves or write about anyway. So I think that process was great. It was amazing to work with Brian on that, obviously. But yeah, it's just such a good experience.
Yeah.
No, I bet. I mean, like you say, it's got to be cool to have someone, you know, Brian Johnson's able to give you guys a set of lyrics to sort of run with and to trust you with that and to absolutely, you know, if you weren't, one of the first things I heard when the single came through, it just sounds like a Himalayas track. You know what I mean? It doesn't sound, you know, it's not like Himalayas trying to do AC/DC. It is absolutely a Himalayas track, which it should be. But how did you find the process? You know, Brian Johnson aside, which is amazing. How did you find that process of working with someone else's ideas compared to like obviously producing the whole thing yourselves as you would normally obviously you put your stamp on it, but how was that for you?
Yeah, we've never written with anyone else before.
Mm.
We've always just done it in like as a band. So I think that was brand new. And if it like I don't think we found it necessarily challenging in this aspect. I think the only challenge for this one in particular was just to live up to the expectation. But I don't know if you felt.
Yeah, I think that was the thing. Like we'd come off the back of doing the first album, so I think we learned a lot in that time in that process anyway. So I think we were quite confident in terms of you know, what our abilities were and what we thought we could do. So I think we knew that there was going to be something in it anyway. But as Joe said, there was about 3 different rewrites to this, so it did take a while. We wanted to really make sure we did it justice. But there were elements where, you know, we kind of done the first album, gigged some of those songs, realized, you know, from gigging as much as anything else, what we thought the strengths were, and kind of used some of that as a starting point then to kind of build up the rest of the song.
Oh, nice one, man. So for anyone who hasn't listened to it into depth, where does the song come from lyrically?
So this is kind of like I guess we just with the lyrics it was kind of like quite open. When Brian sent them over, there was a ton of stuff on the page that he had sent. So kind of like finding that lane to be like this is going to be in this direction or not. There was like obviously key themes like the chorus and stuff, like, you know, like key lines or key bits that we wanted to keep in, and we felt like they were big moments of the song. So, but for us, it's just I guess the current state of politics. I guess, you know, the fact that the cracks within the world that are so readily paved over. I think those are the big parts of it. I think we just wanted to do I suppose like show our like I don't know distaste for like violence and unnecessary things like that. So I think those are kind of key themes of it, but we wanted to add more to just that idea.
Yeah, leave a bit open to interpretation, and kind of have a little bit of ambiguity sat in there as well.
I think those songs, they lyrically, that are, you say have that ambiguity about it. I think they resonate more because people naturally, when a song goes out into the world, people put their own feelings and experiences onto it anyway.
Exactly. You don't need to sort of spoon feed that sort of thing. This is a song about X, Y, and Z. It is really for the listener to make their own mind up, and certain things might resonate more than others, even though that might not be the kind of main sort of focus of the song or whatever. So yeah, I think it's nice sort of having the listener having some opportunity just to think about it for themselves, rather than just being told that this is what how things are or whatever.
No, fair play. Like you said earlier that you were sitting on the lyrics for quite a while, and then you guys recorded your debut album From Hell to Here, which came out last year. Did you have the lyrics for this before the debut then, or was that? I'm just trying to.
Yes.
Yeah, just before, and I think because we knew we were going to do the album, there was an element where we were kind of happy to leave it a little bit just to make sure we got all of that done. But then, as I say, it felt like by the time we'd finished the album, we were in a better place and we were probably more equipped to do a good job on this song anyway. So I think we kind of did it at the right time and kind of hung on for long enough to learn enough to justify doing it.
I think for us, the reason we didn't be as quick to move this onto album one, as I think we wanted to stand on our own 2 feet a little and make that the first true thing, like the first full length record from us. We wanted it to be just like as a debut record. We wanted it to be fully Himalayas. I think that was something we were really conscious of.
Yeah, I mean, like the album itself. I mean, I first came across you guys when you went out and supported Dirty Honey. I was at the Norwich show of those, and that's where I first saw you guys there. And I know a lot of friends saw Dirty Honey on that tour, and obviously incidentally saw you guys as well. And there was a big spin after that tour from just from a rock fan's point of view about these are guys to watch. So there was definitely an anticipation just in my own circle of people that I know for the debut. So I can see why you guys would want to bring it up. This is us, and this is who we are, and this is 100% us. With even the great like Brian Johnson, but there's this is us, and this is what we can do on our own standing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like an introduction to us, kind of like a sign of where we're gonna go. And I think on the album there were some songs that were slightly older, so like we had to do like I think I suppose a sign of where we've been and where we're going. And I think moving forward we're going to lean into like more rock influences that we found, and I think our tastes have matured since we started the band. We kind of had to do a nod to stuff that we've done previously as well in that debut album since the very beginning, where we were slightly more indie influenced at times during that period of time. But I think we're now fully a rock band, I suppose.
When did that morph happen? Obviously, you're saying you started as a more indie influencing. When did that sort of shift change?
I think it was probably around the time we were doing the album. Like there were some songs on that were like slightly softer in tone or thing. And we still love doing those kind of like want to have contrast in music. We don't want to be so predictable and just come up with like 3 to 4 minute rock songs that everyone knows how it's gonna begin, be in the middle and end. We don't want to just do that. But I think it's slowly progressively happened from the album and to now. Like I think we're always evolving, I guess, and we love bands like Queens of the Stone Age who can transform from album to album to album and reinvent themselves and make themselves interesting. And I think that's something we want to continue to do.
Yeah, and I think for a while as well, it was an element of just, it kind of happened naturally. We didn't really sort of take, like, maybe just didn't notice it as much. It was just, the more new songs we were writing and the more we were doing things and listening to other people's music, just certain things came into it that we wouldn't have considered doing before. And that just kind of ended up getting to the sort of the first album, and we sort of realized that this is what we are and this is what we really want to do. So I think, yeah, there wasn't really one sort of moment where we all sat down and said we want to do X, Y, and Z. It kind of just happened naturally, and then we sort of noticed it at a particular point in time and decided to kind of go along with it.
I mean, for me, I think that's always exciting when the band comes out of left field and hits you anyway, which I think you're not expecting. I think that's a lot of the reason why your set really stood out during the Dirty Honey tour, for example, because I hadn't come across you guys before. I hadn't heard a song before then. But because obviously Dirty Honey are very, they're very classic rock driven in their sound and everything, where you guys have got that Queens of the Stone Age, Raw Blood, kind of Foos, kind of slant in you on Crossing, it'd have been very easy for them to have a band that was similar ilk. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes when you get that, and other shows that I've been to, there's nothing wrong with the support hand, but you're like, well, we're going to see that in a bit, you know. And then you guys came out doing what you did, completely different tonality, but absolutely worked. And I think it just came out hitting people out the park. I mean, I don't know how that tour was from your point of view on that respect.
Oh, we love that. We absolutely love that
Yeah,
tour.
really fun,
I think
actually, yeah.
the one thing we love about rock fans is rock fans aren't too particular. And I think that's something we like we're the same. Like where the scope of rock music, you can find appreciation from multiple different ways. Like, you know, like whether I don't know, like in terms of genre and style, that you can appreciate the whole thing. And I think that's something we found on that tour and other tours we've done before, because we're lucky to get chosen on those tours, you know, like where, or like someone say, yeah, like come on board. But it's that thing, we never want to adhere to to that. We never want to be like, okay, this is the type of show this is going to be like, where, for instance, Dirty Honey, where it's like more classic rock style. We all just feel like we want to do our thing, and like hopefully people love that and hopefully or like that and an appreciation for it. But yeah, we wanted to like stay firmly in what we do, because I think we love what we do. So on shows like that, it's great when we have a contrast between the headline band and the support band, like you said, because it's just, I like to go to shows and be surprised by things, or be like, feel like you've seen two different things in one night, as opposed to, like you said, the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, and I think like there's an expectation, I think, a lot of people to have for rock and metal fans as well, because we've supported a couple of metal bands in the last couple of years, and I think there's an element where you kind of expect there to be a bit of snobbery if it's doesn't sit within what they sort of like. But from our experience of supporting bands like Dirty Honey, is that actually, you know, they're just music fans, and if you do a good job and you're making decent music, and you know, you clearly sort of are invested and you care about what you do, that they're very receptive to that, whether it's similar to the headline band or not. So I think, yeah, it's not a case of sort of for us playing to the gallery. We just want to do our thing, and if people like it, then great. And it does seem to be like, for the last couple of years, we've supported acts that, regardless of what sort of stuff they do, we've tended to go down pretty well, like generally with sort of rock and metal crowds.
Nice. I mean, as a, you know, I play bass myself and I've done for a long time. So I'm always interested to hear who, you know, you're talking about your early influences there being on the more sort of indie side of things, but who was the musicians that, you know, made you pick? I mean, was it guitar first? Was it singing first for you guys? What was, you know?
I think for me, it was singing first. Unfortunately, I had some like early years of like music that I wouldn't be so keen on now, but you know, like I think, yeah, it was just those kind of things. I think my taste, like I said, has matured, but I think bands now like that we love, and like there's always been a key influence of rock music, and like we've had like bands like Green Day, or you know, like when we were younger and stuff, that My Chemical Romance and bands like that, who were like initially some of the things that I was listening to when I was like a teen,
Yeah.
or you know, those kind of influences like Bowie and stuff was always a huge, even when I was a kid and I liked pop music, terrible pop music, I always liked Bowie. You know, like I always liked artists like that my dad would play, or like my parents would listen to. So I think there's always been that influence of like of great music, I guess, that we love since we were children.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, like growing up on like the Beatles and the Who and Jimi Hendrix, people like that, and it was just kind of, that was always present. So it was always what I wanted to do anyway. And you know, start learning music and picking up an instrument, and then as time goes on, your taste kind of just develops and changes and expands, and you realize how many other great influences there are out there. And I think that's one thing that's really exciting now, is like when I find something I haven't heard before, where someone does something that really excites you, and you know, you kind of left wondering how have they done that, and then, you know, part of the process of trying to find out, and then, you know, is that something I can adopt and you know, have in my own way, I suppose. So yeah, I think that was like kind of starting point, but at this point it's just kind of, as long as something sounds good to me, then I'll look to see if that's something that can be incorporated one way or another.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, like you say, if it sounds good in your ear, that's all it needs to be. And there's nothing more. I don't ever want to lose that teenage excitement of, you know, like you say, finding something new and someone not necessarily. Sometimes it's completely outside of what you'd normally listen to. But I mean, you mentioned Bowie there, Jay. Like, I grew up on Bowie. My dad was a huge Bowie fan as well. I mean, you say that man went through all the genres, rock, pop, soul, and he even did like the early sort of 90s industrial side of things that he did. And that probably fed into your ethos, I guess, a little bit of, going where the song goes and going wherever the Himalayas are going to go, because the Himalaya sound is, the amalgamation of all you guys. So that's where it's going to come from. It's not going to come from copycats.
Exactly, and we want to do that left field thing, like you said, where like it's just going to be the album that we want to make. Like we're all listening to like Depeche Mode right now, so like that's it's just that thing that we're open to let like instruments and music take us where we feel like that in that right space of time. And I think I guess we want to just do stuff that like people feel inspired by and surprised by.
Yeah, and we have spent a long, it's taken a long time to get to the sound that we're at now. So I think because we've taken so long to do it, we're in a position now where everyone knows where everyone else sits and what their role is, so we can kind of just sort of expand from there. And we know that as long as those kind of elements are there in the first place, we can sort of do whatever we want then, as long as everyone kind of likes it. So we've left ourselves quite a lot of scope going forward to try different things, I think.
Nice. So how long have the Himalayas been going as a project then? How do you guys start off?
We started in school, me and Mike. Yeah, it's not necessarily in the form of Himalayas, but we just started playing covers, and like as we were like young teens or whatever. So I think we just played in pubs and did that kind of thing. We'd do like covers of stuff, and then we just decided to like around college and early university decided we should probably try and do this, but as a real effort. Especially within our local scene, within Cardiff, we just wanted to kind of do those venues and be considered within Cardiff quite, and we saw bands of older people who were older than us, and we're like, yeah, we want to try and do that. And then I think as we started to do that and realized we were doing okay and finding our feet within that scene, I think we just tried to develop songs. We wanted to make songs that sound similar to bands that we were inspired by. Nice. And I think that was the real jump. I think when we realized we could try and make music that sounded like bands, albums that we loved, I think that's where the real jump was for us. So it's been started, I guess, since 2015, I think. So it's been a while, like it's been a long period of time, but not necessarily. I think we're finding our feet in for a long period of time.
So when did Joe when did the other guys come into play from in the story?
So James, our drummer, was a year above us in school. So when we were in bands and stuff, he was in other bands and
around,
each other, and we were aware of each other. And then I think it was when we were in college. Then we were looking for a drummer, and I think James's band had not long split up, so we just gave him a shout. And then he brought in Louis on bass from I think wherever they worked together. Louis played guitar. He'd never played bass before. He just said,
"Oh, right, that's interesting.
Fancy coming down for a jam," and yeah, we haven't been able to get rid of him ever since. So,
so he's doing something right then.
Yeah, well, maybe like, we don't know all that.
I think we have more patience and sense. I think is us,
We've all had that one. I've had stuff like that in bands in the past where you go, I don't know what's going on, but it's working, so I'm not gonna tackle it. I'm gonna move it.
Like it all comes tumbling down,
like a house of cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Almost precariously walking around the rehearsal rooms, going, no. Well, it's obviously working for you guys. You got some great shows lined up with someone we sort of spoke about briefly before we start recording. But you got gig with Taking Back Sunday at the end of the month. That's looking like a great show. Have you played with those guys before at all?
Oh, never before. So looking forward to those dates. So yeah, that'd be good. I really look forward to it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We've got one in London with them and one in Cardiff. So, and they're both nice venues, O2 Kentish Forum and the Cardiff Student Union. So,
that's a great venue.
Gigs, yeah, looking forward.
I only went over there once, so I played rugby for my uni, and we ended up over there. We ended up going over the SU after we played, and we were staying overnight. And I stupidly decided, me and the lads said, "Yeah, we can drink with the Welsh guys. We'll be all right." And I don't think we made it back to like where we were staying. And me and a couple of a few of them bailed out. I remember my coach ringing me saying, "Where the hell are you?" And I'm like, and I wasn't just in someone's dorm, just drinking in their kitchen, sort of thing as you do. And he's like, "I'm just having a drink." He's like, "Lee, it's 8:30 in the morning and the coach is leaving." I was like, "Oh, I'll come back." I had to ring my mate and go, "Can you go pick up my bag? Like I've got to leg it across Cardiff." It's a wicked venue down the SU there, man. It's a cool. And you've got, obviously,
Yeah.
speaking of the Cardiff shows, you've got the Foo Fighters. I mean, that's just an unbelievable show there to get.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. Yeah, we're looking forward to that one, to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the. I mean, we found out about it about a year before the actual gig, so I think we
nice.
probably won't really sink into we're walking out, I'd imagine, and then we'll all shit ourselves. But I'd say that. But
All right, it's what editing's for, Mike. Don't worry.
we'll all be really scared.
Everyone know what you really said anyway, so don't worry about it. But no, like to get shows like that, that's got to be, you know, definite pinch me moments for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Nice one. So how does the rest of the year look? I mean, obviously you've released V.O.V. Video for that looked great, by the way. That looked like a lot of fun to do.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a long shoot. It was like 6 hours in a bath. So
I was going to say, how cold and wrinkly did you get, Joe? I mean,
very wrinkly. Yeah, very wrinkly. It wasn't too cold. I've had colder shoots, like where we did, like on the album we did, Leader's Place. We were in an abandoned house for that one. So like I was in a t-shirt as well in the middle of winter in an abandoned house. So that was cold. But like the V.O.V. shoot was okay. It was good fun, and I'm glad the way it's turned out. So. It was worth the pain.
Yeah, it was fine. We ironed him out at the end,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he wasn't pruned up for too long.
As long as he looked good, yeah, it's not a mess.
Exactly. In terms of the rest of the year as well, we're away recording more stuff.
Oh, nice.
A few months. We're continuously writing, so I think there'll be more new music this year. We're doing
right, okay.
headline tour before the Foo Fighters show, so we're doing Leeds, Bristol, Glasgow, Nottingham, Newcastle. So we look forward to that, and then there's going to be more shows added and announced in the UK throughout the year then as well.
That's brilliant, man. Yeah, I've got family in the northeast as well. My sort of folks initially, so I'm hoping to come up to the Newcastle show. So hopefully,
that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
No, so the cleaner you're playing up there?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've done it once before, but a long while ago.
Yeah, it's a great venue, the Clooney. It's
a really nice venue. Yeah, I think it sold quite well as well. So.
Yeah. If anyone wants to come to shows, though, we advise buying tickets like fairly soon because they've actually flown out. So like, which we really look forward to.
Yeah, really delighted with the response off the back of the single. So yeah, get your tickets now.
That's amazing, guys. It looks like you got a fantastic year ahead, and already looking for new music as well to get that recorded as well, which is fantastic news. You know, sometimes you think on the debut, and obviously you work so hard for a debut album, that you're gonna, and it's a great record from Hell to Here. It's a fantastic record release. So I thought you obviously still promoting that very much so. And then I thought maybe actually V.O.V. being a standalone single, that would be it for a little while. But it's good to know that music.
Yeah, definitely. I think we like bands who are like quite hardworking and kind of always doing stuff. I suppose like, if you love doing what you're doing, why would you take a break?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for your time, guys. It's been great chat to you.
Thank you very much for having us.
No worries, my absolute pleasure, boys. Like at the beginning of the interview, obviously I'm going to play V.O.V. with it being the new single, but what song of yours would you like us to play at the end of the interview? We'll sandwich the interview in the middle.
Hell to Here?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
maybe from Hell to Here for just the lead track of the debut album.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll lock that in happily, mate. So yeah, Jay, Mike, thanks for your time. Been good to chat to you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Chat to you. Have a nice rest of the day.
You too. Cheers, guys. Take care.